Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Malikicowtipper going to bring you another game of StarCraft 2, and today my opponent will be FUBAR, and the map is Shakuris Plateau. So this is my fourth cast for today. This is my last day in a set of 3 days that I had off. And I gotta say, I'm really enjoying this. Basically, today was kind of a cleaning day, a lazy day, also a day to play a lot of StarCraft. I advanced 100 points in my ladder. I'm currently seated at number 1 in my Gold League, just kind of trying to work my way up into Platinum and see what I can do for there. And the map is Shakuris Plateau, and I am the Red Zerg in the lower right-hand corner, and FUBAR, which is just one of the most awesome names ever, is the Blue Protoss in the lower left-hand corner. So, good positions as far as I'm concerned for spawn. This does give a lot of runtime in between, definitely discourages any type of early, silly gameplay, cheese in this thing. It's one of those things that it does get better with age, and by that I mean the game just gets better the more you play it. And that's not to say that none of us have went for, easy wins or anything. Oh, that's kind of neat. Very low polygon count right there, but whatever, it's all good. And as far as winning in StarCraft 2 is concerned, I feel like there's two types of good wins. There's the good win where you pull off a fast game and it had something to do with you getting it right. Like, say your Protoss goes for a Nexus first, and then lays down their Forge and their Gateway, and you manage to get some Speedlings in there, and you kind of punish them for being greedy. I really wouldn't call that necessarily cheese. I would say that that is something where you saw what your enemy was doing and you took advantage of it. That's a little bit different than going Forge first and then dropping down. Ooh, one of my favorite ones is the Pylon back here and then the cannons up here. Very sneaky Protoss. I've seen them try that, and it is so super annoying. Always bugs me. That hasn't happened to me in a long time. Anyway, so we can see that you probably would like to see some information right there. There we go. So kind of getting, a little bit in here, you can see that he's canceling the assimilator, which is kind of interesting. And for myself, I'm going for a pretty standard 16 expand, and I'm going to get my pull down next. But I did notice this probe down here laying down that pylon, so I pulled 4 workers off. And the reason I pulled 4 workers is I really want to kill this probe. And this isn't so much to kill the pylon. I might go after it. The probe goes away, but the thing is, I just really want that probe dead because I want to discourage, knowing that the Forge is already done, any type of, cheesy stuff that he might do. So right here, I'm going to do my best to kind of kill the probe, split my drones, and, oh, come on, get the attack. And right here, going to be able to kill that probe, and he's going to be left with a photon cannon, which the 4 workers are definitely going to be able to out-DPS it, and they're going to be able to kill it. And it'll be interesting to see if he cancels it, or if I get the free kill. Yep, he does cancel. He recovers his minerals. And just for good measure, I'm going to kill this pylon right now. Even though the probe's dead, it's more or less just me wanting it dead or knowing that I'm starting to work on it, just because it's annoying me. And it's one of those things where he very well could have sent another probe over here, and if I don't have drones at the ready working on it, if he drops 2 or 3 cannons when my pool is just finishing, it's one thing where I have to commit a bunch of Zerglings to it. If those cannons get up, I'm just really screwed. So I figure it's just better, take care of the problem, get it done with. So inside my scouting right here is going to reveal to me, ouch, my drone's like, no, fuck you, that hurt. Anyway, I am going to see that he's going Nexus first. Well, not Nexus first. He's getting a Nexus and a Gateway, but his wall is fairly solid. There's a cannon there, 1 or 2 Zealots will easily take care of that. And for myself, I'm going to basically say, you know what, if you're going to do that, I'm going to macro behind it, and I'm just going to get a lot of units and probably take a 3rd base relatively quickly behind all of this and just go for it. So we can see I am banking quite a bit of money, and I'm not quite sure what I plan to do with that money. I'm almost positive I took a very fast expand on this map. And I did play it about an hour ago or so, watching the MSI tournaments that HD StarCraft has posted, and I gotta say, I watched the first 2 games, and I really do like Killer's gameplay style. I thought it was very cool that he was able to hold off MVP Tails' 7-gate push. Like, watching that, I just thought about, oh god, how badly that would have destroyed me, and we can see that I did supply camp myself, and I thought, you know what, I'll burn those minerals on an expand. Seems like a darn good idea to me. And I have not gotten a queen down at that base yet, reasonably because I just haven't had the income to really support building that queen, or at least I haven't felt like I have, because I went for that fast expand, but having that queen down a little bit earlier would be nice, kind of get that creep spread up and going. Guys, give me 1 second, I need a quick Mountain Dew break. Actually, I lied. Mountain Lightning. Not nearly as satisfying. Even though the taste of Mountain Lightning is good, it's the fact that you know that you're not drinking Mountain Dew. Like, the idea of Mountain Dew is just so awesome because everybody loves Mountain Dew. So let's check out what FUBAR is doing over here. We can see that he's just kind of casually glancing over his base, checking it out, and for myself, I am chilling looking at my base. I am, hopefully going to be dropping more creep tumors with this queen. And if we go back to the everyone view, check out the income, we can see that he's actually up 32 to 29 harvesters. Go back to the production, and we can see that I'm getting speed down right now, and I'm actually just starting to take a second gas now that I'm morphing Lair Tech, and I'm actually going to take probably these extra 2 gas. And the reason I'm going to take so much gas so fast is I intend to pretty much blaze straight through my Lair Tech and get into Hive Tech and try to bring Broodlords out on the field. And poking up here, I can see that he's chrono boosting out his warp gates, and he has a relatively small army, and I really have no intention of attempting to break through the front wall that FUBAR is attempting to put up right now. But I want to just take advantage of the fact that his army is small and that he's playing a macro game for myself to get this up and running and actually make some good out of it. Reasonably speaking, to get fast lair and to be able to get the Broodlords and numbers that you need to make it effective, you really need 3 base. 4 base is actually preferred just because it is such a gas-heavy build. Broodlords costing 250 gas and 300 minerals apiece is just absolutely insane. Getting infestors down on the ground, you're talking about one of the most gas-heavy builds in the game that you can possibly manage. So you need all of that income. So we can see that he is getting ground armor level 1. And does he have... Yes, he does have ground attack level 1 as well. So he's doing good on upgrades, and I have yet to lay down any type of evolution chamber myself. So I need to take care of that very quickly. There we go. And get my upgrades up and running. The last thing that you want is to be down upgraded, because right now if we were to engage in a battle, even though neither of us really have any army to speak of, I'd be at a significant disadvantage. I do have an Overlord up here to kind of tell me if there's going to be any type of tricky expand stuff, and I have Overlords and Zerglings kind of all over the field. I'm trying to maintain my vision, and my creep spread is about to take off just because I've got a queen going at it, and when you get a certain... It's kind of like creep tumors when they hit critical mass. They just start to be awesome. So if we take a look at the income, 57 over 43, it is starting to favor me. I have excellent saturation at both of my bases, taking good care of that. My infestation pit's going down, my spire is going down. And I'm training another queen back here, and I believe I'm training another queen over here as well, and I think I'm training that second queen. Macro hatch, yes. Interesting, normally I don't start training the queen until after I built the hatchery. Good me. I'm awesome. And interesting, he's hiding his robotics bay. Probably doesn't want me to see that. So, through the Twilight Council, he is getting Blink, and he has to kill a pylon. Sad panda. Because he walled himself in. That's unfortunate. Not really. And right now, we're really just kind of getting into more standard macro game at this point. I should actually be seeking a 4th base relatively soon, just to kind of get that gas income that I'm going to need. And if we take a look at the units tab right here, we can see I actually only have 1 military unit on the ground, and it's a Zergling. And even for FUBAR, we can see that his army is relatively small, neither of us really wanting to engage. But if he were to push out right now with this, I could really be in a very, very bad position. So to compensate, because I have so many drones, and I'm cutting a few of them, I'm getting up a wall of spines. Now this wall of spines can be very, very effective in deterring an attack like this. It can buy you time. Going over to the production tab and see I'm building 12 units worth of Zerglings. I have 1-1 coming out, pathogen glands coming out, my Hive Tech is on the way, I have my macro hatch just finishing right now, and I have 5 Corruptors on the field. So these Corruptors actually not going to do me any good right now, but I'm worried about Colossus at this point in the game. And my Overseer over here makes me this actually makes me very uncomfortable when I see this, because now I don't know where his army is, and he has control over the Zelnaga, but he also knows that I have this wall of spines here, and that's realistically the only thing that's saving me, preventing him from pushing in, is knowing that he has to deal with all these spine crawlers. And right now that he can see this, I would actually push in and maybe even attack from the bottom side here, because my spines are actually really out of position for where he could push through. He has the knowledge, but I think he's waiting for a pylon to kind of try and reinforce what he's doing here. My creep spread about to approach the halfway point on the map. Hive Tech nearly completed. Income tab, we can see I'm running 67 over 48, so maintaining. I could use a few more workers here as far as saturation goes, but I have plenty of money to fund this army now. I realistically just need the units. So 20 more Zerglings on the way, 5 infestors, and this is kind of a scary point in this game of ZvP, simply because I'm going to try to hold off this Protoss army with pretty much mass infestor Ling, and these spine crawlers are absolutely essential to kind of keep this army at bay. Realistically, if you're a Zerg player, this is something that you probably should get in the habit of doing, and it might feel wasteful to send, 5 to 10 drones down to make this spine wall, but it's going to stop. This Protoss isn't attacking. He could have ended the game. There's a timing window going for this build that they can really take advantage of. And we can see he's just continuing to max his army. Our food count almost identical at this point. I have this 4th expansion coming up, and we can see that I'm mining gas off of it long distance until this gets up and running, just because I'm absolutely going to need it, but I'm still 50 seconds away. He is pushing up through the middle of the map, and right here, I'm separating my queen out because I do not want her in my pool to mess up my fungal growths. My Zerglings are going to get in, force fields coming down, and I'm dropping fungals on every single one of the stalkers, and I'm filling the area with infested Terran. So all I'm really doing is I'm using free and cheap units, protecting my expensive ones, and sniping out those Colossus. That hurt. He was definitely not happy for that because there's nothing he can do. This army composition right here would very easily fall prey to my infestor Ling that I'm getting out on the field. We can see I have 7 more corruptors out on the field, and I'm going to have 2 mini corruptors. My Greater Spire is complete, and I'm now getting flying attack level 1, which is cool, and I'm getting melee attack level 2. I can't afford ground armor level 2 right now. Excuse me, I can't speak right now. Maybe I should consider taking a break. Nonsense, that's silly. He's going for his 3rd base, but that spine wall right here, I lost 4 out of the 7 that were there. I lost a bunch of Lings, but I kept all of my expensive units and took out his expensive units. The units lost tab right now, we can see greatly in favor of me. He has almost 2,000 more lost minerals than I do. We can see he does have 4 zealots coming up here, which are actually going to do, with their 2 attack, very, very well against these Lings. And all my corruptors are like, hey guys, we want to help. And I'm like, well, you can't. And right here, this queen going to try desperately to do something. And this is actually a good opportunity for him to come in. I have 3 Broodlords out in the field, but almost nothing here. I need to be very careful or I'm going to lose this army in the middle. These spine crawlers going to buy me desperate seconds that I need, just picking away at some of the stalkers, these overlords trying to get away. And my army is just so small right now. I need to be extremely careful with how I engage this. I need to make sure I fungal growth these units and let my Broodlords do most of the talking. So he's content with pushing in, taking out some creep, taking out a few spines, and pulling back to reinforce. He really probably does want to have a few Colossus over there, but with the tech transition I'm going to, those Colossus just aren't going to do him a lot of good, and it's actually good that he doesn't, because I have so many Corruptors in the field, they would just absolutely destroy the Colossus. Just crazy. And as far as my Broodlord count goes, it's at 3, and I'm at 180 over his 137. I did actually lose quite a few of my... What the hell did I lose all my workers up there for? I'm not really quite sure. Yeah, so as far as that's concerned, I'm sorry guys, I feel like I'm kind of losing my train of thought here. I have a Bangling Nest being built right in the center of the map, which is just silly. I'll hopefully cancel that, but we can see I have almost about 10 more spine crawlers morphing in. That's where they all went. And if we go back to the production tab, we can see that I reproduced quite a few of those workers, so it's one of those things where you're going to burn some minerals, go ahead and replace them right off the bat. We can see he's trying to get up a 4th base. I'm supply capped right now, which is very, very sad. He has High Templars out in the field. They're getting plenty of energy right now for feedback or Psionic Storm. So scary. He has very, very good upgrades, 3 attack, 2 ground armor, and he's not working on the 3rd ground armor yet. My upgrades for my ground units are at 1-2, and that's just really not the place that you want to be as a Zerg, where you're just completely out upgraded by the Protoss, because they'll shred your army. And right here, the Corruptor is going to make short work of that Observer. You're not going to get to see anything, and he is morphing Archons. I guess he's decided that, as far as this is concerned, there really just isn't a lot of swarm units for Storm to be super effective against. Broodlords can realistically take 3 to 4 direct Storms, especially if you're macroing them out. It's just not very effective to use Storms against Broodlords, especially if they have decent spreads. So right here, with the Zelnaga in hand, I'm going to push out, and I'm morphing so many more Broodlords. I have a lot of Broodlords out in the field, and he has absolutely nothing to deal with them. The best hope that he has is to blink right in the center of them, focus fire down the Broodlords, and try to take them out. But I'm starting to get up my 4th base. I have a good spine wall assembled here in the back to fall back to, should I need to. Yep, nice little concave right there. And with once all these Broodlords on the field finish, oh wow, 11 Broodlords, that's so chill. Yeah, that's really the best way to describe that. I'm going to move them up over this high ground because it does not afford him vision. He can't attack over it, and he's going to have to move all the way around it the entire time, just taking Broodlord fire. That's extra damage that they're going to do, and I'm going to move him with my Zerg units. He's going to try to warp under, but there just is not enough Stalkers in range. I'm going to lose a few Broodlords. I've lost 1 Broodlord so far, maybe a second one going to go down. He's in the red, but all of the units getting fungal growth, getting taken out, Corruptors taking out any air units, and FUBAR doesn't even bother GGing, leaves the game, and I'm thinking that he's probably a little angry at this point. And I could possibly understand his frustration because there was for a good part in that game, there's a window where he could have attacked. And realistically, he probably could have finished me had I done that attack, but that's almost any game of StarCraft. Realistically speaking, it's all about windows. It's about timings, taking advantage of where the other opponent's at. Like when your Protoss decides to go, even if it's something like Forge and then Nexus, you can still get banglings and you can blow up this wall. Is it going to be expensive for the units? Yeah, it's going to cost you a lot of banglings, but once that tech is gone, he's like, I have no tech. And you can just completely do whatever you want to with him. Or in the case like this, when he was engaging my army, and I believe I said this in the video that I posted just before this, that Broodlord number hits critical mass, around that 8 to 10 mark, and they just become almost impossible to deal with Stalkers. And at that point, you really need Void Rays or something else like a Mothership to take out this type of play. With all the energy they have in my Infestors here, it doesn't matter if my Zerglings go down. I can put 30, 40 Infested Terran in front of you and just absolutely ruin your day. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this nice short little ZvP. This is Malikicowtipper signing out.